Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. All right, everybody, welcome back. Thank you, Mr. Producer. I am joined by the one and only Miss Candace Plattor. And Candace Plattor does such a great show here. She's helping so many different people. Welcome back to the show, Miss Candace.
Thank you very much, Casey. Hi, everyone.
Hey, in case people haven't seen your show or know about Love with Boundaries, can you kind of just give us a little revamp, a little
Sure.
retrospect review?
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm an addictions therapist, and I work out of Vancouver, Canada, which is a beautiful place. Come and visit us. And I work specifically with the families of addicts, of people who are struggling with addiction. I myself am an addict. I have 35 years clean and sober now, and I've been working with families and their addicted loved ones for 30 years. So, I work with the families primarily because there's so much help out there for the addicts. There's detox and rehab and all kinds of groups and all kinds of counseling, but there's very little help for the families, and the families are struggling right alongside them and often don't have the luxury of being stoned. They're feeling the feelings.
Yeah.
So I work with them around how to how to make sure that they're doing what they need to be doing to really help the addict that they love so much.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And it's so
And I
great.
work, I have a,
No, please,
yeah,
you
go
go
ahead,
ahead, please.
please. Well, I was just going to say that my business name is Love with Boundaries. My website is lovewithboundaries.com because, especially when we're in this situation with people who are addicted, we have to love them. We have to love them. And we have to love them with boundaries, because otherwise they're just going to keep doing what they're doing.
Yeah,
So.
and it's so great what you're doing, because the education and knowledge that you're imparting onto these people, and bless their heart, they believe that they're showing them love by doing things for them, and as we would say, enabling.
Yeah.
They see that as an act of love, but they just don't know, because this is a new thing to them, right?
Right. And it comes from a place of love
Okay,
most
that's a
of the
better way to
time.
say it. Yeah.
Yeah, except when it's coming from a place of anger and resentment and frustration, but it's still coming from a place of love, because families love their addicts. They just don't like the behavior that their addicts are showing. And so they're trying to do what they think will help, but often what they're doing is are behaviors and actions that actually keep the addict stuck in the addiction. And that's the last thing the families want. So it's all inadvertent. They don't mean to be doing anything wrong. They're really trying to do everything right, but there are some things that they're doing that really need to be tweaked and shifted and changed.
Yeah.
So.
Gotcha. And I want to get back on this, but one thing I want to tell the audience, and I want to ask, is you did a TED Talk, and
I did.
that is huge. What a accomplishment, and what a way to reach people. Tell me, can you tell me the story about it? Any thoughts on it? I want to know how that went.
Yeah, I had done a talk, I think it was the year before, for something called Get Inspired Vancouver. And I had a wonderful, wonderful speaking coach. If anybody's interested in having a speaking coach, let me know. And she told me about TEDx, and so we went, and I was accepted. You have to try out and audition and all of that. It's hard work. It's very worth it, though. I was so nervous giving this talk. I was not sure when I was waiting in the wings if my legs were going to carry me onto the stage. That's how nervous I felt.
Wow.
But once I got started and I started talking about what my message is, then it was a lot better. I get really positive results, comments from people when they've watched the TED Talk, and most of them are saying, yes, this is exactly what I needed. So if you want to see the TED Talk, it's Candace Plattor TEDx, and it'll just bring it up.
That's awesome. What a feather in your cap. And not only that, but how many people that have I can guarantee you that, like, the people that said that's what I needed, I mean, it's really what they needed, because they just didn't know. Because
Yeah.
like you said in the beginning, there's a lot of information out there, a lot of help for the addict. But what do you do with the people that love them?
Well, you help them.
Yeah.
That's what you do. That's what I do with them, is I help them to see the difference between helping behaviors that actually will help the addict and hopefully get them out of the addiction, um, between the helping and the enabling. And the enabling is now a buzzword in addiction circles. Most people have heard the word. And what it actually means is when you do something for somebody else that they really can and should be doing for themselves. And when you're doing this with an addict, when you're giving them money so they don't have to work, you're not paying, they don't have to pay any rent. It's not just about money, it's about other things too. It's about um, it's about putting up with behavior that just isn't okay by any standard. There's a lot of different ways to enable, but when we do enable an addict, they don't recover.
Yeah.
Because why should they
Right.
recover? Why should they?
Yeah.
Everybody's doing everything for them. Society does everything for them too. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's like we have an enabling society as well. But the helping behaviors are going to help the addict come out of addiction, and the enabling behaviors of the loved ones are going to keep them stuck in addiction. And that's the real difference.
Gotcha.
So family members have to learn the difference between, am I enabling? Am I helping? Am I enabling? And when families come to love with boundaries, when I get to see them, they've usually seen a lot of other counselors. They've tried so many different things. They've put their addict in rehab 80,000 gazillion times, and
Right.
nothing has helped. And they come to me and they say, so many of them start by saying, we know we're enabling, but dot dot dot.
Yeah.
We don't know what else to do. We don't know what to do. We just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, well, great. I'm glad you know that there's a problem here. I'm so glad you're reaching out for help, and we can actually help you. And at Love with Boundaries, we offer a free 30-minute consultation for family members. And sometimes the addict is the one who calls, which is really interesting. I always like that when that happens. But we offer that free 30-minute consultation to see where you are, to see whether we can help you, whether we're a fit for each other. No obligation. So, we're here really waiting for you. We can help you.
Gotcha. Now, we were discussing the difference between enabling and helping, and I'm sure it's kind of the same thing. But I not too clear about what is the NOPE program, the NOPE program. What's that?
The NOPE program. Oh, I think we're frozen. I'm not sure if I should talk.
Yeah, no, I can hear you now.
Okay, good. So, yeah, I talk about in the TED Talk, I talk about the NOPE program. So, excuse me, it's NOPE. And the way I say it in the TED Talk is NOPE, NOPE. So it stands for No Option Program for Enabling. No Option Program for Enabling. So what it means, so no, the N for no, is where you don't give an addict money, you don't put up with the behaviors, you don't let the addict use all night and sleep all day in your home without paying any rent. you don't let them, when they're angry, punch a hole through your wall or shove you out of the way, maybe onto the floor. Like, you don't allow those disrespectful behaviors anymore. No, nope. So O is where you're looking at wanting the addict to to I'm forgetting what the O stands for. I'm sorry. Do you have it written down? It's been
I,
such a long time since I've
I
NOPE.
don't, but
Um,
just the
yeah, the
just of it.
overriding.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the P in the program is for preserving the family unit, because the spotlight is shining on the addict all the time. What's the addict doing? What's he using? What's she up to? Is she clean? Is she sober? All this attention and energy goes into the addict, sometimes in very negative ways, when really the rest of the family is there too, and they matter too. So it's about preserving the family unit. Oh, I remember what the O is. O is for out.
Out.
If you're going to live in our family home, or if you're going to come to functions that our family is having, and you're going to show up high, and you're going to be belligerent and obnoxious, you're out.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
glad I remembered that.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
And then the E stands for enabling, which is never an option, because it's never a loving act to enable an addict. It just keeps that person stuck
Yeah.
in the addiction.
Gotcha.
How is that a loving act?
Yeah.
So N, no. O, out. P, preserve the family. And E, never enable.
Got it.
So
Thanks.
that's the
Thanks
program.
for
And
thanks for the
it's a user-friendly program that families can use in their homes, to make sure that they're not enabling, to make sure that they're setting healthy boundaries, which is a big part of what we help people with at Love, with boundaries. We help them set boundaries, maintain them, language them.
Okay.
Yep.
Great. Thanks for explaining that one. Now, maybe you can touch on the connection between self-care and self-respect.
Ah, yes. Well, what happens, this is a topic I just love. Thank you for bringing it up. What happens in families where there's addiction is that, because there's so much attention and emotional angst that's directed toward the addict, the other family members often, and especially parents, often put their own needs on the back burner. And sometimes people who have addiction in families have grown up in families with addiction, so they're kind of used to not having their own needs met. It just kind of goes along with the territory for them. And when they can start to see how important it is for them to be taking their needs off the back burner and living their own best life. In fact, this is my favorite mug, and it says, live a life you love. Live a life you love. And if I could, I would send every single loved one everywhere in the world a mug. Live a life you love. Stop putting your own needs on the back burner. Start living your own life. Be that role model for the addict. Let the addict know that there are going to be things that you're not going to put up with anymore, because here's the connection. You're starting to respect yourself enough to not want to put up with that anymore.
I see.
The deal with self-respect is that, number one, it's earned by each of us. The way, I can't give you your self-respect, Casey. You
Right.
can't give me mine. It just doesn't work that way. We can't go down to the 7-Eleven and buy it, right? So it's an inside job, and unfortunately it could be packaged well, but it just doesn't work that way. And so the way to develop self-respect is to do the next right thing, healthy thing, and then the next right thing after that, and the next right thing after that. and it becomes earned. We start to feel better about ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that self-respect, which people get confused with self-esteem, which I think is different. We can talk about that if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
But self-respect is the most important thing that all of us have or don't have.
Right.
And the way we live our lives and the way life turns out for us is going to be about whether we respect ourselves and whether we respect ourselves enough to take care of ourselves.
That's great. Yeah, that makes so much sense. And I want to get back to that, but let me go to the audience because I'm always not getting to them. Let me check in with them. Mr. Producer, do we have from instant feedback? I can't see that far. So Mr. Producer is going to come in lead from the instant
Okay.
feedback. All right. What do you got, brother?
We have Michelle in San Francisco wants to know if a family member is told they are enabling an addict, do they sometimes think it's their fault the addict isn't getting help?
Good question.
Okay. So I'm hi Michelle, and thank you for calling in or giving feedback, asking a question. I think what you're asking is it the family member's fault? If you're enabling, is it your fault that the addict is in addiction? And I'm going to say to you, no, it is not. Even if you're enabling, it's not your fault that the addict has become an addict, that your loved one has become an addict. And I like to say this in every show that I'm with you on, Casey,
Yeah.
is that I use the word addict respectfully.
Of
I'm an
course you
addict.
do. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah. There are some people, there are some communities now that think that using the word addict is a label and it's disrespectful. I don't mean it that way at all. So Michelle, you know, you are not responsible for the choices that your addicted loved one is making. And whether you see addiction as a disease or you see it as genetic or you see it as something that they learn at home, underneath all of that, it almost doesn't matter how you see it, because underneath all of it, staying in active addiction is a choice.
Yeah.
None of us who become addicted mean to become addicted. I don't think. I mean, I didn't mean to become addicted, but because of the nature of addiction, we our bodies get addicted to it, our psyches get addicted to a behavior, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not making a choice to become an addict, but once they're in active addiction, that's the choice point for them, not for you, but for them. Their choice point is, am I going to stay in active addiction, or am I going to come out of that and go into some kind of recovery? You cannot make that choice for your addict. It's impossible. We live in a planet of free will. It's
Mm-hmm.
not, you just can't make, you can't make him an addict, and you can't make him not an addict. But here's what you can do. Here's what you've been doing if you've been enabling, and here's what you can do. What you've been doing is making it too comfortable for him to stay in addiction. Somehow, you may not be giving him money, you may be doing something else that's making it too comfortable for him to think, well, why should I really change anything?
Right.
That's what enabling does. So what you're doing, you don't mean to, I know that,
Right.
but what you've been doing is you've been contributing to him staying stuck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's the difference. But you are not at fault for his addiction. He is. He has made the choice to stay in active addiction. If you keep making it comfortable for him to do that, he's not going to move. He's not going to budge. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah.
As an addict.
Right. Right. That's
yeah.
a great explanation. Great question. Thank you. Let me
Yeah,
go.
thank you.
Do one more question. We're running out of time here, but let me get one more question in.
We have an anonymous one just came in, says, why does legal punishment not stop some addicts from using?
Great question.
Yeah, that's a conundrum, isn't it? Because you would really think that it would. But if you think about, I've got two things going on in my mind right now. If you think about people long for a long time, and they're let out. Maybe they've served their time, or they get let out, good behavior, and something called recidivism, where they break the law pretty much right away and they go back into jail. And you think, why would they do that? They've just been there.
Right.
Because on some level, it's easier for them. They're getting 3 squares a day. They know the system. It's just on some level, it's hard coming out of a legal system into real life. So that's one reason that people do that. There's something else to look at, though, and it circles back to self-respect.
Okay.
Because when we don't respect ourselves, we often don't think that we deserve very much. We think we're terrible, horrible people, and we don't think we deserve very much. And I am living proof of that, because that's how I used to live when I was in my addiction. And even before, I didn't think that I could ever do anything to help the world. I didn't think that I had any value at all. And I kept hurting myself and hurting myself and hurting myself. So, people go through the legal system, they get their cars taken away for a while, or their licenses if they've had DUIs. They've had, there's legal stuff that happens. And on some level, even though the person doesn't like that, they want their car, they want their driver's license, they kind of think, well, yeah, that kind of thing should be happening to me, because I'm just worthless. I'll never amount to anything. And this is the self-talk that they have. Yeah. So often that's why even the legal system, even prison system, the slaps on the wrist or the difficulties from the law sometimes don't stop someone. Now, if we can get a little bit more underneath what's really going on for that person, that's what we do at Love with Boundaries, is we get down and understand what's really happening for the enabler, for the addict, for the other family members. How do we stop this?
Yeah.
Right? How do we help an addict feel better about themselves so that they don't believe that they deserve a terrible, horrible life?
Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. What a great explanation.
Because I just never expected to have the life I have today. So I know that addicts can change. And I just really want you to know that too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I always love when you come on, Candace Plattor, doing amazing things, helping so many people. Candace, let me give you the last word here. Anything you want to leave us with or let us think about? And then again, please let us know how to get a hold of you. I love your show. I love your no nonsense. The BS is out when talking to you.
Thank you.
I love the one thing I love is the choice model. I love that because you're so right on. You're so right on about so many things. But let me just give you the final word here and let us know how to get a hold of you. Thank you. Thank you to everyone who wrote in, by the way. If I didn't get to all you, I'll save it.
Yeah, maybe next week we can get to today. Yeah, so I'll say, aside from wishing that this was an hour instead of half an hour, you get a hold of me is to go to lovewithboundaries.com, and on every page of the website at the top left, I think, is a link for our questionnaire, which is a short one. You don't have to give us your whole life, but we need to know a little bit about you. And as soon as we get that questionnaire, we will be in touch with you. We know that you need help now. If you're getting in touch with us, you need help now. So we'll get in touch with you right away. We'll set up that 30-minute call. We'll see if we're going to work together. And if we are, then we just start. And you get to work on what it is that you need to do. So lovewithboundaries.com. That's where you can email me there. You can send me a message, whatever, as well.
All right, guys, the one and only Candace Plattor. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend, and we'll be right back. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.